Good morning. It brings me great pride to be here, you all. My name is Martine Elise Philippe, and I serve as the Director of the Office of Arts and Culture. Let's give one more round of applause for our performance, Bandan Koro. Again, as I mentioned, I am filled with pride to be with you all here today. We are here to give you a progress report on our 2018 Dallas Cultural Plan and Policy. So we hope that you walk away with a lot of energy and a lot of gratitude and a lot of pride in yourselves for all it takes for us as a cultural arts sector to move this plan forward. Right now, it's my honor, sincere and deep honor, to welcome to the podium our interim city manager of the city of Dallas, Ms. Kimberly Beiser-Tolbert.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Martine. Thank you for the work that you continue to do. We appreciate and value the service that you bring to our city. I'm Kimberly Beiser-Tolbert, and I have the pleasure of serving as our interim city manager for the city of Dallas. And it's such an honor to be with you all today, to hear about the updates to the 2018 Dallas Cultural Plan, the first cultural plan for the city of Dallas since 2002. I want to first thank the performers once again. In the entrance, we have the Heritage String Trio led by Maria Demus. And thank you to the dancers of Bandan Koro for delighting us this morning. What a way to get us started. Before we begin, I want to also recognize that we have our former Dallas Mayor, the Honorable Mike Rollins, joining us today. I want to thank him for his service and for the great partnership that we continue to have with Mayor Rollins. I I want to also thank our elected leaders who are here with us today. I know that we have backstage Council Member Paul Ridley, who will be joining you shortly, and we also have Council Member Omar Navice. And sponsors of the Dallas Cultural Plan, the Communities Foundation of Texas, PNC, the Perot Foundation, the Hablitzo Foundation, Texas Instruments, represented today by the Director of Giving and Volunteering, Mr. Andy Smith. Can you please thank the sponsors? I also want to thank our Office of Arts and Culture for putting together today's incredible event. This is an opportunity for you to enjoy the accomplishments that we've achieved under this plan, both in person, and thank you to all of our virtual attendees today. Opportunities for connection, collaboration, and communication are what continues to move Dallas forward. It also creates a culture of continued growth right here in our city, and we're so very proud of the work that we continue to do around arts and culture. I'm so amazed with all of the partners and all of the supporters that continue to show up in a big way to ensure that Dallas continues to be a world-class city for arts, and we continue to lead globally in the space of culturalism. As part of our vibrant portfolio of the city, I also want to thank Liz Cedillo-Piana. She continues to work leading the Office of Arts and Culture along with Martine to make sure that our work and the contributions that we make are significant, they're intentional, and they bring continued value to the city. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the podium Dallas's former mayor, Mike Rollins, for a few remarks. Enjoy your day, and thank you so very much for being here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. It is an honor. It's like an old football player that gets to get back on the field for one play. I'll tell you, it was a great experience being mayor from 11 to 19, and we worked hard on economic development in southern Dallas. We worked on public safety. We worked on education. We worked on a lot of important things. But there's no question the most fun I had was working on our arts community and our arts vision. Our cultural plan was created there, and you're going to see an update on that plan. You know, there are two things that I guess I want to say to you today is what you do today is going to be impacting Dallas for the next 20 years. I parked, and you don't get good parking being a former mayor. You have to park downstairs. But I said it was 1989, and as a young advertising executive, I sat in the Meyerson Symphony Hall, and it was brand new, and listened to Dallas Symphony. And at that moment, I felt like I was one with Dallas, that Dallas was thought big enough to build a building like the Meyerson. And it was remarkable to see what was happening. That's pretty much all we had here. Look at what we've got now. Because a lot of people worked very, very hard to kind of create it. And it's gone beyond the Arts District throughout the whole community. And so what you do is not about just this spring's events and what's coming up in a couple weeks in many of these buildings and other places, but you're laying a foundation, you're laying a culture for the arts in the future. We are making a big dent. It was so great to start Arts Month while we were mayor, and we able to bring the Dallas Art Fair. We had the Nasher Prize. We had conversations about art at this very stage. We built and dedicated this building. It's remarkable the progress we've made, but don't give up. Push hard. Run faster, farther than other cities in the arts, because it will make a difference. Josh Whitfield wrote in the paper this weekend, Father Josh, basically he said, to hell with the politicians, let the saints and the artists show us the way. And I think he's got a lot of wisdom there, because the artists have such great instincts. I told my daughter, an artist, I said, you're going to have to help lead in your generation for what's going on in this world. I want to say thank you to each of you for making an individual contribution to this, because that's the other thing I want to say. It's a team sport. It's the philanthropist, it's the city, it's the community, it's the artist. Everybody's got to do their part. Remember, there are 3 stages of being a great arts community. You've got to build it, and you've got to perform it, and then you've got to be the producer and the creator for the rest of the world, and we're going through that progress. You're going to see that in this arts plan today, the next evolution of that. Thank you, Kimberly, for your steadfast vision to make sure that city staff is there and all the council people and the mayor to say this is important. So let's keep it up and let's make it great and let the show go on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Rawlings. We're so honored for your continued support and leadership. It's now my pleasure to welcome to the podium our chair of the Quality of Life Arts and Culture Council Committee and council member of this beautiful district, Mr. Paul Ridley.
Thank you, Martine. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm Paul Ridley, representing District 14 on the City Council. Also, that district includes where we are today in the Arts District, so welcome to the Arts District. I also have the honor of chairing the Quality of Life Arts and Culture Committee of the Council, which has oversight over the Office of Arts and Culture and the Arts District. So I am really honored to be here today at the Dallas Cultural Plan State of the Arts event. I've been to each one of the last 2, and I really enjoy these events. As a longtime supporter of the arts and a participant in the lively arts scene in Dallas, I would like to begin first by offering some figures for you. The city of Dallas, with a population of 1.25 million, has a tremendous upsurge of tourism based in the arts. The Dallas Arts District has over 4 million estimated visitors annually that come to our city to experience the arts. And every year, the Dallas arts community contributes almost $900 million to the Dallas economy. I am proud of the work that we do as a city to continue growing our arts sector to attract tourism and job opportunities for our Dallas residents. But of equal importance, the arts are an opportunity for us to celebrate the diversity of our community by embracing and exhibiting the different cultures of our diverse population. Rapidly growing the arts in Dallas, even with the impact of the worldwide pandemic, is encouraging for our city as we continue to lead the nation by example. And indeed, the Dallas Arts District just this year was named by USA Today as the best arts district in the country. I think that says a lot about our community. With this great recognition, we must continue to make arts and cultural programming accessible to residents and resources available to artists across Dallas that help make our city vibrant and a place that people want to not only visit, but live and thrive in. Thank you to staff for your hard work and the partnership of the community groups and organizations here today that make access to the arts possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Ridley. Next, bringing forward the chair of our Advisory Arts and Culture Commission. Many of you know that our office stands in advisement of this 18-member commission, and our chair is here today to share a few remarks. Chair David Small.
Thank you, Martine. Today is a great day to be in Dallas, isn't it? Isn't it? It's a great day to be in Dallas. A great time to be in Dallas. And listening to Council Member Paul Ridley, we understand that Dallas has the best artistic community in the country, which makes us one of the best in the world. So we deserve to give ourselves a round of applause for that. We've accomplished a lot. And today we're here to celebrate the diversity of the Dallas arts ecosystem and how it impacts the quality of life for those who live in Dallas as well as those who come to visit Dallas. And I'm honored to chair the Arts and Culture Advisory Commission for the City of Dallas. As you all know, the commissioners are appointed by the City Council and represent every district in Dallas. The commission makes recommendations to the city's Office of Arts and Culture on behalf of the City Council, the mayor, and most importantly, the citizens of Dallas. And so for all of the commissioners that are here, we're very proud of the work that they do. I would like for the commissioners to stand. If you're here, commissioners, please stand. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. And one of the great things about our artistic community and being here in Dallas is the diversity. Dallas is a place where people actually work together, and people observe that and they experience it. No place on earth is perfect, but in our artistic community, we try to make things better. Peaceful coexistence is a low threshold. The true goal of our artistic community is to allow us to thrive in the appreciation of different cultures, and that's an elevated way to look at it. And there's so many different cultures that are represented in our artistic community here in Dallas. Of course, Dallas has the historic pioneer culture, European arts culture, African American culture, Hispanic culture, Jewish culture. I saw Mary Pat here from the Holocaust Museum. If you're here, Mary Pat, let's give Mary Pat a round of applause for what she does there. I had the opportunity to work with them for over 15 years as a board member. Native American culture, Asian culture, LGBTQ culture, all represented in the Dallas artistic community. The Dallas artistic community celebrates diversity, thus the creation of the Equity Plan. The Dallas artistic community leads the effort to make life better here in our city. Our artistic community is largely responsible for making those things better. I'm thankful to be here today and speak with you about these. The Office of Arts and Culture, led by Martine Philippe, we can't say enough about Martine. It optimizes our facilities through hosting festivals, meetings, workshops, and shows at the various centers throughout the city. The Advisory Commission has started a committee led by Dallas's own artistic genius and community leader, Vicki Meek. And Vicki has been busy for a long time crunching the data on the city's resources and making plans for artists to have even more access to facilities and administrative resources. I appreciate you for joining us today and learning about how Dallas has progressed since 2018, and I encourage you to continue to support our cultural and artistic landscape. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Small. Next, before we dive into the updates, I am thrilled to introduce my boss, our Assistant City Manager, Liz Sadia Pereira. And as she comes to the stage, Liz, I want to thank you for your graceful leadership, your steadfast support in ensuring that our office upholds the tenets noted throughout the cultural plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Martine. Again, my name is Liz Cedillo Pereira, serving as Assistant City Manager for the Vibrant portfolio, and so fortunate to be able to serve in that capacity. I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate my banner back here because they're all so incredible, wonderful, such great art. But really, namely, thank all of you for spending the time with us this morning. I'm excited about the program. I can't wait to sit down and appreciate what's going to be before us today in terms of conversation in art and culture. I did want to not be remiss in thanking our team, the incredible group of saints and artists, as Mayor Rawlings noted, of public servants that complete our Office of Arts and Culture. Can you all give them a round of applause with me? Led by their fearless leader, Martine Elise Philippe. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. Again, I am not a creative. I am a lawyer by vocation and administrator now, but my daughter is a creative, and I just see so much potential and power in youth coming together around this very stage, and I hope there are some young people here today with us that can take us into the future, because that's what we're here, is to go one next step, to celebrate not only what we have accomplished as a community, but look into our future about what's to come. So hosting this event today is the first of its kind for the city of Dallas. The Dallas Cultural Plan, when it was first being developed, as many of you here today recall, was focused on communicating and listening to our residents all around Dallas, right? North, south, east, and west. We touched about 9,000 people in person. And that was incredibly important because this team, the arts and culture team, the city team at the time, the council, the mayor, wanted to make sure that our residents were co-creators with us for this plan to thrive. And so it helped us further understand our cultural landscape, as well as its gaps. Through this community engagement process, we were able to learn about the resources that were there and those that were missing. And we were also interested in learning from you what actions needed to be there to guide us forward. And this rich community feedback is what together made up the cultural plan, consisting of 6 priorities: equity, diversity, space, support for our artists, a sustainable arts ecosystem, and communication. Communication. Being involved in gatherings like today are what helps shape the next 5, the next 10, maybe even the next 20 years. The Dallas Cultural Plan is a great example of how we are committed, as our interim city manager, Kimberly Beiser-Tolbert, likes to say, committed to our 3 C's of connecting, collaborating, and communicating, so that we can turn these conversations that are not just mere words into actual policy. So thank you all again for being here today. To our elected leaders, Chair Ridley, as well as Chair Omar Narvaez, we appreciate your support for the arts. We appreciate our commissioners and our Chair Small for being with us in this voluntary capacity to help us drive this moment, this movement forward, to celebrate and appreciate and support our artists and its grand ecosystem. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Arts and culture are very important to Dallas. So tonight, you're going to hear a little bit about the plan, but the more important thing is that we continue hearing from you. We want you to tell us, how you think you might be able to help us carry it out over the next 7 to 10 years.
A little different than equality.
One of the things we decided was we needed to expand the definition of art and culture.
Make sure that we can afford the spaces, that we can access the spaces, but we also should be creative in the spaces that we find.
If we're going to hit those outskirts of the City of Dallas area, then we need to make sure that we are building programs and probably partnerships.
From a council perspective, this is our opportunity to redistribute and to re-energize our city in a way that takes us for the next 20 years.
Over the next several years, I believe the way big business approaches the arts and its connection to the city has to take a deeper dive. Doing good is not always doing good if you don't seek the answers first. This is how I feel about my city's new cultural plan. Albeit young and needing to grow, its roots came from listening to the community of artists, art professionals, the business sector, the city, and engaged citizens. It is leaving me with a promise of a better tomorrow.
Who happen to be here today, if you happen to participate in one of those community engagement sessions back in the day and you're here in the audience, would you mind taking a moment to stand so we can appreciate you with a bit of applause? We value your voices, we value your participation, and we're very grateful for the way your voices landed in our cultural plan. Now I want to turn it over to Commissioner Vicki Meek of our Arts and Culture Advisory Commission and the Equity Manager of the City of Dallas Office of Equity and Inclusion, Ms. Tracy Browder. They are going to invite us into a conversation about the first two priorities noted in our cultural plan, equity and diversity.
Good morning. Commissioner Meek, thank you for taking time to chat with us today. We're here to discuss equity and diversity as it relates to the Dallas Cultural Plan. And I'm excited about that because Dallas is the 9th largest city, more than 1.3 million residents, racially and ethnically diverse. So it's really important that these two priorities in the Dallas Cultural Plan are centered. So let's dive right in. Commissioner Meek, Priority 1, equity, in the Dallas Cultural Plan supports the broadest range of art forms and creative producers, considering inclusivity, diversity, and neighborhood impact to direct resources equitably to artists and organizations. Excuse me. What improvements have been made to expand or adapt the Office of Cultural Affairs programmatic offerings, and how has the office addressed historical inequities in past policies?
Well, I think that we can't talk about this without talking about the past a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, we had lots of complaints over the years about access, lots of complaints about equity, and so one of the reasons why those were prioritized as things that the cultural plan was going to address is because we knew that we had a very diverse city. We also knew that we were not necessarily serving that entire city. So I think that one of the things that has happened over the last few years with this plan is that we have begun to expand our programming. So we have new initiatives that will address all kinds of arts activity, all kinds of cultural activity, all kinds of artists who are doing the work out there in the community. And we have made it a point to not just center that in an arts district per se, but to see the entire city as our arts district, that there is arts and culture in every segment of our city. So that's one of the things. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today is the partnerships that we have begun to develop across all kinds of spectrum. I mean, we've always had a partnership with the Parks and Rec Department, but we formed a much greater and stronger partnership with the libraries, with community organizations. Like, for instance, we had the mural project in Pleasant Grove. Many people are familiar with that. We've partnered with them. We've partnered with the 10th Street Residential Association to do murals in that community. The initiation of the Community Arts Sustainable Art Residency Program was one of the things that we did to expand how we reach communities and how other artists get into that pipeline. And the Cultural Center pop-ups, which, you know, that's a big thing. You know, Rhonda Ivory and her team have really built out the idea of taking arts into the community. So I would say, and it's a lot more than that. That's just touching it. That's just touching it.
And I love the intentionality around addressing what has historically been cultural deserts, so that residents can see themselves in artists and children can see themselves. And there's just so much social, emotional, and mental wellness that goes into bringing arts into the community.
Absolutely.
So, can you share with us how the Office of Cultural Affairs has expanded access to events across the city?
Well, that's been done in many ways. One of the things that I like most as a commissioner is that we have really been asked to engage more fully in our districts, because I'm at large, but most of the commissioners are appointed by their city council person. And all of us have been really involved in a more significant way than I've ever seen before in getting the various programs that the OAC offers out into the community. In some cases, it's been hosting some sorts of meetings for artists to learn about the programs. In other cases, it may be that we've identified partners that we could be working with in those communities. And so we've really used our commissioners in a much more strategic way than I've ever seen them used. And in another way that I've seen that expand is that we have taken our CAP program. And the CAP program is, for those that aren't familiar with it, an artist-centered program. So it's working to get the artists in our community out into the community, and not in just places like the usual suspects, like cultural centers or what have you, but in places where they might never have seen an artist live before. So that's another way that we're pushing the envelope to try to get more arts into the various neighborhoods. And then I guess the last thing that I would say about that is that we have tried our best to really look at the entire map of Dallas when we're looking at Arts Activate projects, to see that artists who are proposing these projects are actually proposing them for areas that may not have seen this kind of activity before.
Thank you for that. I noticed I went way, way back in my roots and said Office of Cultural Affairs. I don't know if you caught that.
I let you slide.
Thank you. I'm a Dallasite, okay? I can't help it. Okay, let's move to priority 2, diversity. In the Dallas Cultural Plan, it celebrates and promotes the diversity of Dallas while striving to improve diversity of programming, staff, and organizational leadership across the cultural sector. Tell us what role the Office of Arts and Culture has taken in promoting diversity across the cultural sector.
Well, as I said before, we've been very intentional about how we are allocating funds, how we are looking at the city and what the city needs. I will say this too, and this is something that probably we didn't talk about, but we need to talk about it. Is for the first time, this commission itself is one of the most diverse that I've ever seen. And so that in and of itself gives you a certain level of access to questions around diversity and equity that would not have had any kind of access before. Not necessarily because it was prevented, but because you didn't have the people around the table to talk about it. So, we have a commission that is very intentionally looking at these issues and looking at the way in which we allocate our funds, as well as looking at the ways in which we engage the community as we begin to allocate funds. I think there was a conversation earlier about the way in which we engage our community in the decision making and what have you. I mean, all of our panels, we're looking very closely at making sure that those panels are diverse. We're making sure that we not just have people who are, the skilled artists, but we also have community people who enjoy the arts but don't necessarily think they have a voice in that. Now they do, and we're very proud of the fact that we've done that.
Absolutely. And I'll add to that what you were saying. The Alana funding for artists to go into underserved Alana communities, and those residents can see themselves in the artist, and that representation really matters. So I appreciate the intentionality around that. Commissioner Meek is a member of the Arts and Culture Advisory Commission and Public Art Committee. How has the public art program changed since the cultural plan became policy in 2018?
Probably one of the most recognizable changes is the fact that we have really expanded the number of artists who are of color who participate in that program. We've also drastically expanded how we talk to the community about public art. I mean, most people probably don't even recognize the fact that we have had I guess for years, we've had a city that really only talked in one language, and then maybe two when they began to see Spanish introduced it. We now have the materials translated into 11 different languages.
Isn't that amazing?
And just to give you, I got to give a shout out to Lynn Rushton, because she has taken the view that there's so much more that can be done with public art. That's why we have the film that came out, Rising, about the Hall of Negro Life. That's why we've had a film being made now about Martyrs Park, so that the idea that if you can't go see the art in person, there's some other source that you can, engage with that public art. I also think that if we look at the panels that we have expanded, the involvement of the public in the panels, so that those panels are very diverse. And, the money that public art spends, many people don't recognize that this is not money necessarily coming out of OAC's budget, because public art is basically funded through the bonds that are, let, and then when things are built, the money comes out of that budget. But the leadership in that area is very critical. And what Lynn has done is that she's made sure that she's in conversation with my committee, which is the Cultural Plan and Equity Committee, so that everything that they're doing also corresponds to this goal of having equity and inclusion.
And you actually just addressed the next question, which is great, because we had a conversation in the back. We're going off script for a second. We had a conversation in the back, and it was so deep and so powerful, and we were just reflecting over the history of Dallas and where we were, where we are. We still have a long way to go. You said something, and that's what I want to close with. You said, I never thought I would get to see the transformation that's happening in my lifetime. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, I guess I could get pretty emotional about that. Because I came to this city in 1980, and I was hired in the very early 80s to create the first community arts development program for the city of Dallas. And in that plan, we had all kinds of things that addressed equity and inclusion and what have you, and we never really realized those things. And I can tell you that it's been an uphill traveling, with lots of companions who were fighting for equity and inclusion and diversity. And sometimes you really don't think that these things are going to happen in your lifetime, I think the first sign that I knew that this was going to be changed is when the commission was changing, and I was seeing more and more artists of color who were becoming a part of this process, a part of our program, getting money. But more importantly, because I began to see the intention of people changing, that we were, because it's a hard political fight to talk about reshifting priorities. Absolutely. And that was always the biggest issue, is that, we had for the longest time this attitude that if somebody else got, then somebody else wasn't going to get, rather than let's increase the pot.
Right.
Let's keep getting more.
Absolutely.
So that everybody gets their just due.
Absolutely.
And I've never operated from a place of scarcity. Mm-hmm. I've always operated from a place of abundance. And I feel like Dallas, one of the things that got me about Dallas when I moved here was, my God, this place has all kinds of stuff. And we can do it all. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that I'm very happy that I didn't have to die. not seeing things that I fought for so many years.
Well, I'm really, really happy that you're here and get to see this coming to fruition. So, Commissioner Meek, we could keep going, but we know we're out of time. So
I just want to say one little thing.
Absolutely.
For those of you who aren't familiar with it, This is a map of many of the public art projects, and we now have a way for you all to get online and to find out where public art is. And like I said, the materials that we work with to get the communities involved, 11 different languages, so we have people able to participate from all over the community. Please, please be engaged in that process.
Exactly. Commissioner Meek, thank you for your visionary leadership. Thank you for your heart and passion and commitment to advancing equity in the city of Dallas. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Meek. Thank you, Ms. Browder. We were backstage talking about our journeys trying to give up coffee. And those ladies don't drink coffee, they drink equity, okay? That's what they do. Right, so we're moving on. Many of you know I'm a former arts educator, and I learned something else while I was backstage in talking about my time as an arts educator. Here we are in the Arts District at the Moody Performance Hall, across the street from Booker T. Washington High School for the Visual and Performing Arts. And it's really special, shout out to Booker T, very special for us to be here across the street from Booker T because our current Dallas Poet Laureate is a graduate of that high school. So she was backstage having one of those full circle moments where you're like, wow, I was just across the street and envisioning my life as a creative, and here she is now, our Dallas Poet Laureate. So it brings me great honor to introduce Meg Gabbert.
Had to make sure that I could be seen. It really is a pleasure and a privilege to be here today. Thank you, Martine, and everyone at the Office of Arts and Culture for inviting me. The poem that I'm going to read is titled, Is Love Holographic? Remember that trick where there's a dove inside a cage, then somehow the dove remains after a magician takes it away? Every letter I place here absorbs sky into the blank page. Am I trying to stare straight at the sun? Can a sheet of just paper still keep me warm? What's not a mirage, but like one? Lines too long to even look broken. Moon roofs, glass-bottom boats, mirrored windows, ice flows sculpted into swans. Why does everyone expect to find you in this poem? Why do I keep writing you texts? Where do I begin? Would I rather dive into a pool or the ocean? Is every sentence that lies a horizon? Is every word polished enough to seem clear yet, or reflective? Who cares? This is not a rhetorical question. What besides light is immersive? What besides language takes risks? Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing those words, Mag. We're going to shift to our next updates. I'm really excited to share the stage with some of my superstar staff members from the Office of Arts and Culture. Joining us on stage, we have the Manager of Cultural Funding Programs, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with, Julia Hosch, Manager of the Oak Cliff Cultural Center, Rafael Tomeo, and Manager of the South Dallas Cultural Center, John Spriggins. And we're going to discuss a bit about the impact of space and support for artists. I was trying to give a little fashion show. A little something. I was stuck behind the podium. Okay. I am so thrilled to highlight the work that you do. We have, in the spirit of public service, it sometimes can be thankless, and I try my best to express my gratitude to you. I know you work long, hard hours in service to the cultural arts sector, and that means very much to them, of course, but to me as well, because you shine a really bright light on the great work that we're doing in the Office of Arts and Culture. So, as noted, we're going to have a little chat. John, I know you've been here for some time. How many years?
7 years now.
7 years. Now, during your tenure as Cultural Center Manager, how have you expanded options of affordable space for performing literary and visual artists?
Thankfully, coming out of the pandemic, we were able to ramp up quite a bit. We are bursting at the seams, thankfully. We utilize every single space we have at the Cultural Center. Even our courtyard is used for programming. One of the big things that we've been able to get off the ground so far is a recording studio, which we've been able to open up to the public and allow people to come in and do recording sessions. So we're really just thankful for the space that we have, all the new upgrades that are happening there to make it friendly for all of our patrons. But mostly just every single space that we can use is multi-purpose space now.
Wonderful. And shout out again, if you have not been to visit South Dallas Cultural Center, please make a point to stop by before the end of the weekend. Raphael. So we have our, again, Oak Cliff Cultural Center Manager. And if you've been there, you know they deserve more space than they have. But Raphael's still making magic happen up in there. So I want you to share a little bit about how you're maximizing the use of your city facility.
Thank you for that. And I have to shout out the entire OAC team because this morning has been almost seamless and just so professionally executed. Shout out to the team. But I think in shouting out the OAC team, I think that's really how Oak Cliff Cultural Center has really maximized the use of space. We listen. And so we always have a team that's dedicated, committed, passionate about what they do and understanding the circumstances with which we are operating in. And so while we might have two spaces to do things, that just means that we turn that into a conversation with someone who uses the space and says, hey, we would really like more space, or we would really like to perform over here. And we've offered that support in a variety of ways. It's not as easy as just saying, hey, we'll give you a couple $100s. In that dialogue, we uncover things, we listen to our stakeholders, our community members, our organizations, and we support them. And that evolves. It turns into different ways throughout the years. Obviously, you know, we love some of the groups that have gone through the doors of Oak Cliff Cultural Center, but I think our idea is that they don't live there forever. We want to help them grow. We want to help them be successful. You know, there have been many groups that have gone on. Alegre Ballet Folklorico is now in their own space. And so whatever the Oak Cliff Cultural Center can do to contribute to their success is as much a success for the city of Dallas and for our cultural center. And so it always just goes back to listening and engaging in that dialogue to see what we can offer and support.
Thank you. And thank you both again, Cultural Center Managers, for what you do, not only for residents, but for visitors as well. You all are very much a highlight of what's best and bright in the city of Dallas, and I'm really grateful to have your facilities under our umbrella. So we're going to shift to talk a little bit about funding programs. Do I have any COP, Arts Activate, Cultural Value recipients in the house? Can we hear you? Okay. So email Julia. Stop emailing me. Stop emailing me. Email Julia. So Julia, I want you to share, and let me say, Julia and I are fairly the same age in OAC, and all I hear about is the significant impact you have had in streamlining processes, in making sure artists, yes, very much important, making sure artists understand how to get what they need from us. You have been out and about all across many districts hosting information sessions. I'm really proud of that work that you're doing, and I hope you know that your being here has made a significant difference for OAC as well. Now, please share a bit about how you've worked to improve communications and processes to apply for and receive funding. All these folks out here in receipt of funding here in the city of Dallas.
Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you to all of you who have participated in these funding programs. The way I think about the communication tenet in the cultural plan is a license to have an open relationship with you, our artists and organizations. And what does that look like for every touch point that you have for the city? We know that sometimes working with the city is a lot of paper, and I'm very sorry, but it means that we can tell your stories better. It means that we can hear where your sticking points are and help to fix them. One thing we've started doing over the past year is before every funding program starts, we have at least 5 opportunities for you to reach out to us in person, virtually, in a bilingual way, and we will make it to an information session in every district this year. So with that, I would ask that you help us continue to do this by please reach out when you have an opportunity for us to help make better for you as an applicant, as a recipient, so that we can think about how we keep a relationship with you over time, because this doesn't happen without your work in the communities, and for that we are so grateful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So with that, we're not going to hold you anymore. We have a very special performance coming up next, but again, it's important to me to get to extend my gratitude to you when I see you, and I just want to thank you again for representing the best of OAC, uplifting our mission and vision, and being committed to excellent work. Thank you, guys. All right, as we leave the stage, I am going to introduce our next dance performance. We have coming to the stage, Mitoti Litzli, Yao Yo Latli, and that translates into Heart of the Warrior Aztec Group. I hope you enjoy the upcoming performance. What a powerful performance. It's our intent, and we hope that you respectfully accept this, that we have honored our ancestors in alignment with the city's land acknowledgement statement with our opening performance and with this second follow-up dance performance, to acknowledge our ancestors, to acknowledge those who took care of these lands originally. And again, thank you for that round of applause in honoring them. We have one final update to share, and so to discuss the strides we've taken to improve communication and to support this sustainable arts ecosystem, I'm excited for Glenn, our Office of Arts and Culture Assistant Director of Programming and Engagement, to come to the stage, along with our Senior Public Information Officer, Ashley.
All right. Gotta keep it calm. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure to be in a room filled with people who understand the importance of the arts, not just as a source of inspiration, but as a vital component of our economy and our community's well-being. Let's start with some big picture context. According to the Arts and Economic Prosperity 6 study, the arts contribute billions to our national economy every year. Here in Dallas, the impact is just as profound. The arts not only enrich our lives, but also fuel our local economy, providing jobs, boosting tourism, and enhancing the vibrancy of our city. But today, we're here to talk about something even bigger than economic impact. We're talking about building a sustainable arts ecosystem. And when I say sustainable, I don't just mean keeping the lights on or the doors open. I mean creating an environment where the arts can thrive for generations to come, where artists, organizations, and our community can flourish together. A sustainable arts ecosystem is more than any one person, organization, or even the sum of our individual efforts. It's about how we all work together to support the arts, leveraging every resource at our disposal to create something that lasts. I'd like to share with you some of the ways OAC has helped contribute to this intricate ecosystem since the Dallas Cultural Plan's passing in 2018. We have focused on optimizing public contributions at our city-owned cultural facilities, like the management agreement of the Meyerson Symphony Center to the Dallas Symphony Association, providing a more sustainable operation of the iconic space. We've established the management agreement with KERA to operate WRR 101.1 FM classical radio station, bringing classical programming to audiences across the region while maintaining a sustainable operation that benefits KERA, advertisers, and the city. Then this year, we are beginning negotiations in earnest with the Dallas Museum of Art for a new long-term management agreement to continue a partnership that provides millions of Dallas residents and visitors with a world-class museum experience free of charge. These efforts aren't just about numbers on a contract, they're about creating partnerships that allow these iconic institutions to thrive, benefiting both the arts and the public. Moving along. OAC continues to provide regular and reliable space to our Alana and BIPOC artists and organizations at our cultural centers, including the establishment of resident company agreements at the Latino Cultural Center with Cara Mia Theater and Teatro Dallas. These partnerships ensure that our cultural centers remain vibrant and accessible to the community, providing spaces where diverse voices and stories can be told. Another critical aspect of a sustainable arts ecosystem includes OAC's efforts to maintain our city-owned cultural facilities. I don't believe I need to qualify this, but we all know the importance of why prioritizing funds for facility maintenance and upkeep is crucial for their long-term viability and for ensuring they continue to serve as hubs of creativity. OAC continues to build its general fund budget to support facility repair and maintenance, as well as looking to supplement our facility upkeep with hotel occupancy tax dollars for those facilities which so clearly promote and welcome in guests from all over the state, country, and the globe. Let's keep talking about how OAC has pursued and expanded non-general fund sources to increase available funds for arts and culture that leverage cross-sector benefits. In 2021, in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, OAC used its Arts Endowment Fund to launch Culture of Value to provide artist relief and continue to provide services to our residents when we needed the arts the most to find joy in a time of fear and uncertainty. We then secured an NEA grant to continue the program for another year. We also secured funds from the National Park Service to help restore the Juanita J. Craft Civil Rights House and Museum. All of that said, we haven't done all the work ourselves, of course. With the help of our arts partners and advocates, we now have the largest share of the hotel occupancy tax OAC has ever seen, with an increase slated in FY25 that will bring us up to 12.5%. Of course, sustainability doesn't just mean handing out money. It means developing and strengthening our artists and organizations to be as successful as they can be and see Dallas as a home that can support their artistic endeavors. OAC has been committed to developing our arts ecosystem, and that starts with providing grant assistance to new and returning OAC applicants. Through workshops, training sessions, and open office hours, we're helping more artists and organizations access the resources they need to succeed. Sustainability, and really any of our priorities, must be supported by more than just themselves. We must ensure that we're not only sustaining our arts ecosystem, but effectively communicating what we do and what we need. Whether if it's advocating for more resources, bringing arts to the table in broader city initiatives, or sharing the incredible work OAC, Dallas artists, and organizations are doing in this great city, we must make sure our voices are heard. As such, I'm thrilled to be able to hand it over to Ashley to share more about our communication priority. Thanks so much.
Good morning. I'm honored to be here with you all today to share with you updates regarding the final priority of the Dallas Cultural Plan, communication. If I were to walk through each priority and then each strategy and then each initiative for each strategy, I would be describing to you over 100 different marketing plans. But instead, I'm going to talk about how our office works to spread awareness of new and existing cultural experiences to residents of all backgrounds, and how we work collaboratively with peer departments and organizations bringing arts access to all. Since the Dallas Cultural Plan was adopted, the Office of Arts and Culture has maintained the dallasculture.org website, providing quick access to resources such as our grants and open calls, public art mural guide, artist directory, and permits pages. Our Dallas Culture Calendar, where thanks to our partners at KERA, have assisted us in spreading the word of over 100 programs a month that are either hosted or supported by our office. To equitably help share these many events, we utilize social media, email newsletter, radio, billboards, and are so grateful for the news media partners that choose to cover the great stories of the individuals and organizations we support and help us with sharing open calls and funding opportunities. Our Dallas residents come from all backgrounds, and our office works diligently to provide access to information sessions, flyers, and documents in multiple languages to better serve our residents. Working with the Communications Office to provide more language access, code compliance services to create more #vibrant, not vacant spaces through the Reimagined Vacancy Program, and the Parks and Recreation Department to further beautify our great urban forests with public art, collaboration helps us spread the word of our great accomplishments to reach beyond Dallas. Just this year, the public art piece Shadow Lines by Recite Studio was selected as one of the top 100 most successful projects in the world that integrate commissioned art into an interior, architectural, or public space. Just this past spring, thanks to the support of community partners, media partners, and just plain word of mouth, the first ever AAPI Heritage and Dragon and Boat Festival, which took place at the Bathhouse Cultural Center, had over 7,000 people in attendance. Last fall, hosted by our public art program, Texera and the Office of Emergency Management and Crisis Response, was an emergency preparedness for cultural heritage 2-day training and was attended by over 30 professionals from across the state of Texas. To ensure we continue carrying out the aforementioned priorities, from supporting the broadest range of art forms and ensuring equitable access to resources for artists and organizations, celebrating and promoting the diversity of Dallas through multicultural heritage celebrations, providing spaces and creating places that encourage and allow arts and culture to thrive, the Office of Arts and Culture works to be a model of sustainability to the arts and culture community. Communication, as outlined in the plan, supports and promotes all the activities taking place under the banners of the preceding priorities. We look forward to ensuring continued awareness at the local, national, and international levels of Dallas's cultural offerings. And lastly, I encourage you all to stay in the loop of news from our office by following us on social media at Dallas Culture and subscribing to our newsletter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley, and Glenn as well. So thrilled to make it to the end of our event here. And of course, I'm going to close with a bit more gratitude and some acknowledgments. We shared a bit about what's been happening within our office from the staff perspective, with support from our policymakers and our city leaders, and of course you, our cultural arts stakeholders. But it's really important for me to note that the progress we've made to address the priorities noted in our cultural plan would not be possible without the work of our sister departments across the city of Dallas. They do a lot of work to support funding, to support public art initiatives and other programming to residents and visitors. And so as you entered through the lobby here at the Moody, you may have seen a gift table. On that table are a series of these Office of Arts and Culture Glass Circle Awards. We just began presenting these awards recently. Our outgoing city manager, T.C. Broadnax, has received one. Longtime staff member and curator over at the Dallas Museum of Art, Dr. Roz, she's also in receipt of one of these. And for us, the Circle, we call it the Circle Award because the Circle represents how award recipients embrace our mission. And again, it's a gift of gratitude. I'm going to call out a number of our sister departments, and I hope that you have a representative here today who can go to the lobby and pick up the gift after lunch after you exit. But you'll find inscribed on this award, specifically, in gratitude to our valued City of Dallas partner departments for their steadfast support and collaboration. It really means a lot to us to get to work with you day in and day out. It's not always easy work, but we're very well aware that we can't do our great work without you. So I'm here to acknowledge the following offices and departments: the Office of Procurement Services, Budget and Management Services, Board and Commissions, Building Services Department, the Office of Equity and Inclusion, Bond and Construction Management, City Attorney's Office, Park and Recreation Department, City Secretary's Office, Code Compliance Services Department, the Communications and Customer Experience 311, Convention and Event Services, the Dallas Public Library, Office of Aviation, the Office of Environmental Quality and Sustainability, and of course, the Dallas Police Department. Thank you all for the way that you stand up and support the work that the Office of Arts and Culture does. Along with acknowledging Dallas Police Department, before we close, I invite everyone here today, in person and online, to hold a moment of silence in the name of our dear colleague, Dallas Police Officer Darren Burks, whose life was taken last week while in the line of duty. Let's please take a moment of silence. We express our deepest condolences to the family of our fallen Dallas police officer and to the officers who were also wounded. We appreciate the Dallas Police Department's unwavering dedication and commitment to serving and protecting us each and every day. And thank you to the members of DPD who are present and on duty here today. The cultural arts sector and these arts experiences have a way of threading us all together. It's really been a highlight of my career in service as an arts administrator to get to serve here in the city of Dallas, specifically because of the Dallas Cultural Plan. Many of you are aware that that is the key document that attracted me to serve in this capacity. In addition to that particular document, I am so thrilled to get to serve alongside the staff of the Office of Arts and Culture, who I want to thank today for, one, planning this beautiful event so seamlessly, as mentioned before, and to our city leadership on the staff side, the city manager's office, for trusting us day in and day out to continue to elevate this beautiful fabric of our community. Thank you all who are here for your time today. It means a lot to us, especially those of you who were in that video, who took the time to participate in those community engagement sessions. I'm grateful that you're still here, that you made it through the COVID pandemic and get to celebrate and continue to uplift how we have charged through that very challenging time and continue to make strides forward. While you guys are here, upon exit, of course, we invite you to join us for light bites and lunch. But again, I share with complete and total optimism that I look forward to the progress that lies ahead. Thank you for coming.
the blackness. Keep the